Yo everyone, what is going on? Welcome to the video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a full day of eating 2,000 calories, but it's not going to be any typical full day of eating. Today is going to be a hungover edition because, as most of you probably know, when you are hungover, your motivation to eat healthy is low. Your motivation to eat about 5,000 calories or more is high. So today is going to be all about finding that balance. So I'm going to try and keep calories under control. I'm going to try and get a decent amount of protein in. I'm going to try and eat relatively healthy, always treating myself to some meals that hit the spot when you are hungover. So I think this will be a really good challenge. And before I even get into the video, I want to know what your favorite hungover food is. I think there will be some interesting ones, maybe some weird ones. So yeah, comment below and let me know, what do you always go for when you are hungover? Okay, so when you are hungover, unless you are the kind of hungover where you are finding it hard to even keep water down, which is honestly the worst feeling in the world, a great way to start your day is with a big greasy fry. But unfortunately, according to Google anyway, a traditional Irish fry contains around 1,300 calories, and to be honest, I would say that is pretty spot on. So what I'm going to do is create my own lower calorie, higher protein version. Okay, so I'm going to start by adding 2 of these Malins light pork sausages to a pan, and the calories and macros on these are so good. So per sausage, there is only 43 calories and there is 6.7 grams of protein. So yeah, in terms of your calorie and macro friendly alternatives to just your standard sausage, these are definitely the best that I can find. Even in comparison to the likes of turkey sausages and chicken sausages, these are superior in terms of the calorie and macro content. And yeah, for those of you living in Ireland, I got them in Super Value. I'm pretty sure you can get them in Tesco as well, but I know there are a lot of people watching this from the likes of the US and Canada and things like that. So if you have any calorie and macro friendly alternatives that you go to when it comes to things like this, then make sure you comment them below. I'm sure loads of people will be scrolling through the comment section. So yeah, it'll be really helpful. And the reason these go on first is because they always take the longest to cook. Next up, I'm gonna add 200 grams of these no added sugar and salt beans to a saucepan. The reason I'm going for no added sugar and salt is because they are lower in calories. Then I'm gonna crack 1 egg onto this pan over here. That is gonna be swiftly followed by 100 ml of egg whites. I'm going to scramble that up. Let's add a little bit of sea salt and black pepper into the mix as well. Now I'm gonna move back to my first pan and I'm gonna add 2 of these smoked bacon medallions. And just to give you an idea of the calories and macros in these, so per medallion there is 33 calories and 6 grams of protein. So if you don't have medallions where you live, then you can make the necessary substitute. I know some of you might go with Canadian bacon or whatever lean cut of bacon you can find. And just to add some extra smokiness to the dish, let's season with some smoked paprika, of course. Okay, now that everything is almost good to go, I am going to toast 2 slices of 60 calorie bread. And honestly, one of my main pieces of advice when you are cooking a fry, especially when you are hungover, is to do it slowly. A lot of the times, people will completely rush this, they lose track because they're using a few different pots and pans and they just burn everything as a result. So cook on a low heat, cook it slowly. It'll take an extra few minutes in the grand scheme of things and everything will just be so much more relaxed and enjoyable. Alright, so big portion of scrambled eggs, 2 sausages, big portions of beans, 2 bacon medallions, 2 slices of toast, big cup of coffee, all for 573 calories and 60 grams of protein. That is really good going. And usually if I wasn't hungover, I would include some form of veg in my morning fry. It would usually be mushrooms. But I actually had the worst hangover of my whole entire life. No, that's dramatic. I had one of the worst hangovers of my entire life a few weeks ago. To be honest, it was completely self-inflicted. So we went out, there was a free bar, and honestly, the measures they were pouring, the measures of vodka they were pouring were scary. They were triples. But yeah, as a result, the next morning I woke up and I was absolutely dying, hanging out of my ass. Rachel ever so kindly decided to make me a fry to, help me get over the hangover. And I actually remember walking into the kitchen and the smell of the fry itself, which is usually lovely, almost tipped me over the edge and almost made me sick. But I soldiered on anyway. I actually got through pretty much all of the fry. I think it helped me. I don't know, I was actually so bad all day that I don't even know if it did. But the one thing that I left on my plate were mushrooms, and even looking at them was kind of making me gag. I don't know what it was, because I am usually a big fan of mushrooms, but there was just something about the mushrooms when hungover that was borderline sending me over the edge. So yeah, long story short, that is why there are no mushrooms in this hungover healthy fry. Let's give it a taste. I am a fan of just mixing everything together. I did create a barrier between the eggs and the beans because I know some people are kind of weird about beans touching their other foods on the plate. I don't really have that problem. So yeah. Nothing better, so good. Okay, so before I continue, I would like to give Skillshare a massive shout out for sponsoring this video. They're becoming really loyal sponsors, which I do appreciate. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community with a wide range of classes on so many different topics, like freelancing, like entrepreneurship, like finding fulfillment, like self-care, like productivity, like video editing, like filmography, and the list goes on and on and on. And I'm actually currently making my way through a class on iPhone filmmaking by two filmmakers called Caleb and Niles, and it's so handy. So they talk about the best way to shoot footage on your iPhone, what gear they recommend, what apps they recommend, how to transfer footage, and how to edit footage efficiently as well. And seeing as the cameras on phones are just so good in general these days, like you always see some of the top vloggers using their iPhone to vlog on a regular basis, which I think is deadly. Yeah, needing a camera to actually get started when it comes to vlogging, when it comes to just creating video content in general, it has never been less of a necessity. And instead you can watch a couple of super simple video tutorials like this. You can whip out your phone and you will be good to go. So yeah, if you were interested in seeing what Skillshare is all about, you literally have nothing to lose anyway, then follow the link in my description. Signing up takes no length of time whatsoever. And yeah, see what you think. Okay, so next up I am going with an Irish bestseller at the deli counter for sure, especially on a Saturday morning / early afternoon, and that is the famous chicken fillet roll. So it's warm crispy chicken in a bread roll with some lettuce, maybe some cheese, lots of sauces as well. Sounds basic, but it's so good. It always hits the spot. But unfortunately, this is going to set you back over 1,000 calories, which is a pretty hefty chunk, I think. So I'm gonna put my own low-calorie spin on it. Alright, so first things first, I'm gonna put together the quickest and easiest marinade that is gonna make the chicken taste delicious. And I'm gonna start by adding 30 ml of Frank's Red Hot sauce to a bowl. That is gonna be followed by 20 grams of lighter than light mayo. As you can see, only 11 calories per tablespoon. Let's add in some sea salt, some black pepper, some smoked paprika, and some onion powder. Now let's mix everything together. Then I'm gonna get 150 grams of raw chicken. I am going to soak it in the marinade, make sure it is fully covered, and I'm actually just gonna leave it in there for about 15 minutes or so, just so it really seeps into the chicken. And you can actually leave it there for hours and hours and hours, and typically the longer the better, but when you are hungover, that is just not realistic. Okay, so next up I'm gonna get one of these bread rolls. So there's just over 100 grams per bread roll, which is 276 calories. And to make it nice and crispy, I am actually going to put it on the frying pan for a few minutes. This is obviously completely optional. Pan is actually slightly too big, so I need to press it down. Oh yes, we are looking good. When your bread sounds like this, you know it is crispy. Okay, I put my bread to one side. I'm gonna respray my pan with some 1-calorie spray. Then I'm gonna get my chicken onto it. And when my chicken is almost cooked, I do like to add a little bit more hot sauce just for that extra spice. Okay, chicken is looking juicy. Let's cut it into strips. Okay, let's get to work on making the actual roll up. So I am going to add 20 grams of lighter than light mayo to the base. Spread that as evenly as possible. Next up, I'm gonna add about 15 grams of rocket lettuce. Then I'm gonna add my strips of chicken. Let's fold this baby over as best we can. All right, so we are looking extremely good. And just as a little treat on the side, I am going to be having 20 grams of Doritos. Alright, so with a chicken fillet roll from the deli and a bag of crisps, which is usually a deal, I think that's a bit of a meal deal in most places, you're probably looking at least 1,200 calories. So for this to be clocking in at just over 600 calories, that's good going. That's a good saving. And I've actually been thinking about the things that I personally do to minimize the chances of me actually getting a hangover, a bad hangover anyway, and dying a death the following morning as much as possible. So yeah, I think I have actually learned some tips and tricks over the years. Some, like just from myself, from trial and error kind of. Other tips that I've seen online. And the first thing that I always do, or 95% of the time anyway, is ensure that I get a solid meal before going out, because if you have food in your system, that is going to slow the rate at which your body absorbs alcohol, and as a result your body is just going to have more time to break it down. So yeah, I always try and make sure that I get a decent meal before going out, and on the rare occasions that I don't, I always feel way worse off the following day, and I actually always try to make sure to lightly salt this meal as well, because salt is going to help your body retain water, and dehydration is one of the main components of a hangover. So yeah, if that extra bit of salt helps your body hang on to a little bit more water than usual, then when it comes to your hangover the following day, that is only going to be a good thing. And secondly, when I get back from a night out, I am usually coherent, and when I am, I always try to make sure to drink as much water as I possibly can. And honestly, this can be a task sometimes, because when your stomach is already kind of so full of fluid, it can feel like you really have to force it down, and sometimes I do. But if I get in a liter or more, I know I'm going to be so much better off the following morning. And on the nights that I just cannot get water down, because I just know if I drink one more sip of fluid, I will be sick everywhere. Yeah, again, I always feel so much worse off the following morning. And I actually have a couple more things that I do, but I'll actually save them for a little bit later. Alright, so for my final meal of the day, I am going for a takeaway. Of course I am, and my all-time favorite takeaway is Domino's. Hands down, basic maybe, but it just wins every single time in my opinion. And the great thing about Domino's is that if you want, there are a decent amount of lower calorie options going. So for example, you can go for a thinner crust like Italian style crust, you can go for reduced fat cheese instead of the normal cheese. And in terms of toppings, if you go for one lean meat topping like chicken to get your protein in but also to keep the calories down, because chicken is going to be a lot leaner than beef for example, and then if you make the rest veg, that is also going to keep the calories of the whole pizza down as well. So I'm going to put my order in now. I'm going to go collect it because they actually don't deliver to where I live. So since I moved, I'm just outside the radius in which my local Domino's delivers to, which is probably a good thing but also a very bad thing. So yeah, I'll show you what I get. Okay, we have got the goods. I'm going to start off with a can of Coke Zero. When I am hungover, water is honestly the last thing that I need. I feel like I could drink 2 liters of water and it still wouldn't quench my thirst, whereas having a fizzy drink like a Coke Zero or something like that, it's just better. Let's open this baby up. Oh yes. All right, so I got a small pizza with Italian style crust. I got a barbecue base, reduced fat cheese, and as the toppings, I went for tandoori chicken, sweet corn, jalapenos, and pineapple. And if you're about to scroll down to the comment sections and type out pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, then I actually think you need to go back to 2005, because that is the last time that debate was actually relevant. Nobody cares anymore. All right, let's give this a taste. This is so good. And all in all, this pizza has 37 grams of protein and 606 calories, and that is a calorie bargain in my opinion, because when it comes to your typical small pizza that you get from Domino's, it would usually have 1000 plus calories. So you're saving at least 400 to 500 calories, at least. And the second item that I got are these chicken kickers. So you get 7, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, they threw in an extra one. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Happy days. But yeah, I'm gonna have 4, and in 4 there are 232 calories and 14.8 grams of protein, which is pretty decent. They also come with this garlic dip, but I got barbecue dip instead, because even though the garlic dip is so nice, in the small one here there is 169 calories, which for a tiny dip, I don't know if it's worth it or not, but I'm not going to have it today. And I actually bought the big dip as well because I wanted to ruin everyone's day. So in this, guess how many calories that there are. Just guess. Think of it in your head, and I'm going to say the answer in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. 675 calories in this. That is insane. So I'm gonna go with the barbecue dip, and this has 60 calories, which in comparison to the garlic dip is pretty good. If I was walking by my car and I saw somebody do this, I would be so turned on, not gonna lie. They're pretty good. Never had these before. I like them. I actually just double checked, and there's only 47 calories in this dip, which is even better. And before I get completely carried away with this pizza, I actually wanted to mention the final thing that I try and pay attention to on my nights out, and that is my drink choice. And for the most part, I usually stick with a spirit. It's 9 times out of 10 vodka, and a 0-calorie mixer. And I actually do that for a couple of reasons. So reason number one is because a spirit and a 0-calorie mixer is one of the lower calorie drinks that you can get. But reason number two is that vodka actually has a very low level of congeners, especially compared to drinks like brandy, like rum, like red wine. And congeners are basically these little compounds that are found in alcohol. And typically speaking, the more congeners an alcoholic beverage has, the worse your hangover is generally going to be. So for example, if you go out one night and you drink 8 units of vodka, and then you go out the following week and you drink 8 units of red wine, your hangover is most likely going to be worse from the red wine than it is from the vodka. And I'll actually display a graph on screen now displaying the congeners in like your typical drinks. Alright everyone, I am back in the gaff and I'm actually going to wrap the video up there, but before I do, I want to display my total calories and my protein for the day on screen now. And yeah, the message that I really hope got across in this video is even on the days you are not massively motivated, maybe you are massively hungover, maybe for another reason, it doesn't mean that you have to consume like 5,000 calories and press the self-destruct button. Instead, you can still treat yourself, you can still keep your calories relatively under control, you can still get a decent amount of protein in, and yes, it's not going to be a super healthy day, but not everything with your diet has to be black and white. You don't either have to be eating super healthy or, you know, the complete opposite where you are binging out. There is a middle ground, and some days, you know, it's fine to be in that middle ground. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed me doing something different, and if you did, make sure you comment below and let me know. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you give the video a big thumbs up as well. That goes a long way. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all keeping well, everyone. I've got a really good video coming next week as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And yeah, I will see you then.